Welcome to the electric car revolution. No, I'm not another startup that's asking for money to build another electric car. I won't do that to you. I actually report on them. My name is Castro, and I'm here at the Griffith Observatory here in Los Angeles, where we have a wonderful backdrop of the LA Basin. Several years ago, I started a blog called Sergeant Al's Traffic Ticket Blog, and that was basically about asking me about things that the police do in the course of their day. A little under 2 years ago, I added automobility and electromobility to the feed, and the blog really took off. It exploded. I now have a large social media presence on the internet and on the Facebook pages. My blog is one of the largest sole-administered car groups in the country. And now I'm ready to take it to the next level, and that's to have a syndicated podcast that covers the world. And I have a television station that's willing to produce it. The problem is that because it's a podcast, I have to incur some of the costs, which is why I'm here asking you for your help. It probably was about maybe 3 years ago that I started watching all of those videos on YouTube of the ice glaciers melting, whether they were mountainous or polar ice caps, and I thought something had to be done. And what better way to do that than to do what I already do as a journalist, and that's to report on electric vehicles. So that's where my journey actually began, by incorporating Sergeant Al's Traffic Ticket Blog and electromobility to bring them together to why we're here talking about this now. One of the biggest things that I find in the automobile industry is that the legacy car makers really don't want to make these electric cars. And in a way, you can't blame them. It's a different invention than the gas car. Your gasoline car has more in common with your oil and gas burner at home than it does with these electric vehicles. And these electric vehicles have more things in common with your dishwasher and washing machine than they do your home furnace. So think about that. So we're asking them now to build an invention that was made over 100 years ago during the brass era, and to bring it back essentially after 100 years of the legacy industry trying to get rid of them. Yeah, they experimented with them, but they now are in a situation because of the environment where they really have no choice to make them. And let's be clear about this. Tesla Motors has a passion to build electric vehicles. VW Group is building them only because of the Dieselgate scandal, and General Motors is building them because their main competitor, VW Group, is building them, and because the vehicles are popular in China, okay? None of these companies have the passion to build an electric vehicle like Tesla does. And that's what I mean by they really don't want to build these vehicles, and you really can't blame them. The most painful one must be Daimler Motors. They're the ones that invented the car, and now they're going to have to make electric ones that they've announced that they really have to. So somebody has to keep their feet to the fire, and I want to be one of those people. I know that they can do this. I know that eventually they can be persuaded to be convinced to make really compelling automobiles that a lot of them are starting to do. In about 5 years from now, most people out here behind me don't realize it, but in 5 years, there's going to be a massive saturation of electric vehicles on the new car market. There's going to be approximately 150 to 200 new vehicles, most of them all electric, in the next 5 years. It's going to be a tsunami of such proportion at a grand scale that we haven't seen this since the Industrial Revolution of 1760, when that all started, and certainly after the brass era, when we lost electric cars the first time. So Nobody wants to take leadership. Nobody wants to take the initiative to show people the way of how to use these vehicles, how to buy them, how to drive them, because it is a different way of driving. It's a different way of lifestyle. Driving an electric vehicle is a lifestyle change, okay? It's not about gas and go like you do with your gas car. You really do have to plan your day around making sure that you have a charge that you can use throughout the day. And when you don't have that charge, you have to make sure that you are in a situation where you can recharge. You're going to do this, for those of you that don't have an electric car yet, you're going to do this automatically and integrate this into your lifestyle easily, but for some people, they don't take to it too well, and that's where you have these issues about range anxiety. One point that I do see the need for me to be in this conversation is that there are a lot of rumors, myths, and misconceptions about electric cars already, that most of the source of their refueling comes from fossil fuels. That's false. Another one is that it uses a lot of carbon during their assembly. Whether that's true or not, an electric car gives back its carbon use after 2 years of use. So if that's an issue, then buy a late model used one. So there's a lot of myths and rumors about these vehicles, and we need to dispel them before they permeate the market, that people get turned off by this. We really don't have that much choice. There's 7.58 billion people on this planet, and there are 1.2 billion vehicles, most of which are gasoline. With a 2% market in the United States, maybe 3% in Europe, still a small percentage in China, I think I'm being liberal by estimating that out of the 1.1 of those vehicles are gasoline, and the rest are electric and some kind of alternative fuel. So that's a lot of little smokestacks that are going on out there in the planet, and that is not sustainable. There's too many people and there's too many gasoline vehicles on the planet, and that needs to be changed, and we have to start somewhere. What's the alternative? I know one thing. If we are certainly not hurting the situation, we're certainly not helping it by keeping this status quo. And another thing too, if we had a problem with aerosol cans 40 years ago, that was aerosol cans back then. What makes people think that gasoline vehicles are any different with exhaust smoke? So I need about $15,000 to start the initial production costs for this podcast. It'll be a 20-minute weekly show. I'll start off with that, possibly make it longer as we go along. But the thing is that I need to find sponsors, permanent sponsors, to sponsor the show. And until then, I need to use crowdfunding to buy time to find those sponsors to cover the show. And right now we're in the process of doing that. We're looking for corporate sponsors to help us that don't obviously conflict with the values that we're trying to instill in people, but at the same time to try to find sponsors that will fund the show. So that's where we are right now with this, and I hope that I can get your support. I hope that we will be able to do this show that will come in hopefully just a few weeks, and we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun learning about cars, learning about electric cars, and autonomous cars. We originally thought that the first robots on the planet would be in our homes and offices. It turns out the way the progression of the technology is going, that it's going to be in our cars first, on the highways and the roads, and the streets of our town, cities. So join me and let's do this. I don't know what more I can say or add to this other than hoping that I get your support for this. I have already structured a gift-giving apparatus in which the top donors will receive gifts for their contributions, and hopefully we will get enough funds to get this project going. If you have any questions, I make myself available to you. My email is contact@alcastro.com. If you want to see my blog in its pure form, in the police sense, go to alcastro.com/blog. And to see it in its electric form, and I will be combining the feeds soon so that it becomes one, you can go to Facebook at Sergeant Al's Traffic Ticket Blog, all in like one piece together with an apostrophe and no other punctuation. Sergeant Al's Traffic Ticket Blog. I'm Al Castro from the Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles. Thank you for watching this.